Hey, what's up expats and travelers alike? I'm Josh with Expats Everywhere.
And I'm Kaye.
And in this video today, we are gonna give you guys the 4 reasons why we traded the US for Saudi Arabia. Kaylee's gonna give her 2, I'm gonna give my 2, and then we're gonna talk about some of the hidden benefits that we found that we didn't know before we went there, and then some things that you guys should know before you go.
Let's go. My first reason is a little funny because the only reason I even considered the Middle East was because Josh wanted to go there. So I guess you could say reason number 1 for me is my husband wanted to go there.
That's not a bad reason.
No, it's not, but I never really...
It's very sacrificial of you.
Oh, thanks. But I never really considered going there, living there. I thought maybe Dubai, like to visit, but to live in the Middle East, it wasn't really something that I wanted to do. So when Josh first brought it up, I was like, ugh, really? That's our next place?
Yeah, so let me give you my reason, and then I think we'll be able to give it a little context, Kaylee's reason. So my first reason is that I felt like I was being far too influenced by Western media, and I was becoming like irrationally fearful of Middle Easterners or Middle Eastern culture or people that look Middle Eastern, or I'm guessing that you guys can relate to that. I'm almost sure that there are some people out there that are like, yup. I mean, this is around the time of like the heightened terrorism and stuff.
Yeah.
So I really want to be broken of that.
So I guess when he brought up that point, I softened a little bit. And the funny thing is we know this is about Saudi Arabia, but when he first brought up the Middle East, I said, okay, I'll go anywhere but Saudi Arabia.
And that's where we ended up.
Yeah.
Well, how that happened is we were looking at going to Dubai. We were looking at Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and that was pretty much it. We had jobs in the UAE, and then long story short, some things happened, some red flags with the company that we were going to work for. We decided to back out of the contract, and we needed to go somewhere in the Middle East, right? I needed to hit my goal of getting over my fear. So I ended up connecting with a guy that was recruiting for a school in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, and they had just opened up some extra recruiting. So even though it seemed kind of late in the game, it wasn't like they were scrambling to find people because people didn't want the job. It was because they needed more people. So that ended up working out in our favor. So yeah, so he said, let's try this. And since it was late in the game and we decided not to go to Dubai because of those red flags, I said, all right, let's try it out.
What a woman. Okay, so what's your second reason?
So then my second reason, after doing research about Dubai, or just really in the Middle East, I found, wow, you can make a lot of money here.
Yeah, a lot of money. Across the Middle East, but certainly in Saudi Arabia. It's almost like they view it in like military terms as hazard pay. You know, like when you go do the job that nobody else wants to do. I wonder if it's changing a bit, but because Saudi is opening up and is opened up definitely more than it was before. But certainly, like if you're going to the UAE in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, those are much cushier places than some of the places you could end up in Saudi Arabia.
And even with those, you make a lot of money, but the cost of living is much higher.
Much higher.
So the savings isn't as good. So when you start looking into Saudi Arabia, you find out you can actually save a lot. So when we did start researching a bit, and then this job opportunity came up, and we saw what we could save, I thought, okay, that's a good reason.
Yeah, we did have some financial goals, and Saudi Arabia definitely checked the boxes.
Yeah.
So my second reason, the fourth reason overall is that, again, travel played a huge role in this. I really wanted to travel to the Middle East, and I knew that if we were living somewhere like Saudi Arabia, we would have a great base to travel.
Yeah, now obviously we had heard about a bunch of these Middle Eastern countries, but we were never really close enough to visit. And there were actually some that we didn't really know much about, like Oman, for example. And we love
man, it is
Oman.
awesome.
Yeah, so you just don't hear much about them. But when you actually get into the region, you hear more. And so you're like, well, I want to go visit. And you just find these beautiful places and these beautiful people. So we knew a bit, we knew we'd want to visit the UAE, but we didn't know we would want to visit Oman and that we would love it so much.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, Oman, Qatar is cool. Both Dubai and Abu Dhabi are nice. I would say I prefer Abu Dhabi compared to Dubai. Abu Dhabi is like, it feels a little more cultural or like local culture, whereas Dubai is much more international and a little more like flashy, high life.
Yeah.
I'm a guys, I'm a southern small town boy, so I'm not really used to all that.
I mean, it's worth seeing, but I think to live there, if you want to have like the biggest and the tallest and the best, then go to Dubai and you can get anything there that you would want. If you want a little more of the culture, maybe a little more family oriented, or just kind of chill, like we found Abu Dhabi to be a little better, especially being by the beach and everything.
Yeah.
And Ferrari World is in Abu Dhabi,
and
the
Ferrari
fastest
World.
roller coaster
But hey,
in the world.
This video is about Saudi Arabia,
that's
so
right.
let's jump back to Saudi Arabia. So here's the thing though, for traveling, when you're in Saudi Arabia, you're there. You're inside Saudi Arabia. At the time, this was before Saudi was open to tourism at all. You couldn't get in at all.
Right.
So if you didn't have a job that allowed you in, good luck seeing anything.
So it's almost like peeking behind the curtain, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah.
You actually get to, you're there. You get to experience what this closed off country is like.
Yeah. And I think it was great. It hit its objectives for me because, you know, we were able to have those layers removed, that cloud of mystery removed from the Middle East, and certainly for Saudi Arabia. I definitely got over my irrational fears.
Yeah.
All right, so bonus material time. Let's jump into some of the bonus things that you guys need to know about before you move to Saudi Arabia, or just things that we didn't know would be like hidden benefits to being there.
So I think my main thing would be is they have everything. It would seem like because they're closed off, they don't, but you can go to Starbucks, you can go to Nike, there's everything. So don't think that you're going to go there and have to live this really closed off life that's so different than your current life.
But how's the shopping experience?
Okay, so the shopping is tough because you can't try stuff on. So if you like doing that, then you have to buy it, and then you can go into the bathroom at the mall and try it on, or take it home, and if you don't like it, you have to return it. So that is a bit of a hassle, but it's still there. You can still buy things. And actually, Saudi women love their fashion. So even though they're completely covered, when you go to a party with just women and they uncover, whoa. I mean, it's crazy. They spend a lot of money on fashion and they look great. I mean, hair, makeup. I don't even know how they get their hair to look so good when it's covered, because I would like take my stuff off and my hair would
She'd
be
be
like
disheveled.
matted to my head, and I'd be like, oh my gosh. But no, they love their fashion, their makeup, their hair, their clothes. Like it's all magnificent.
Dad joke warning. We had some of the best dates in Saudi Arabia.
I knew that was going to be one of your benefits, the dates.
Oh, I love the dates.
Not the dates, this.
Yeah, so like the actual, like, yeah. Amazing,
They
no?
are really good, yeah.
Like, who knew?
Yeah, I mean, they are the best. I like the dates that would have like little nuts that were put in. They're the best.
I think never turn down a good date and tea. If you get offered like to do some, like a traditional tea or ceremonial tea, or just a tea with someone that you just met, don't turn it down.
Right.
Like, legit.
Another thing also to consider is when someone invites you to something like that, don't be weary. They are very nice people, and they are accommodating, and they want to get to know you and your culture, and they want to teach you about their culture. So the tea and the dates, like, they're very nice people. So definitely do that.
Yeah, disclaimer, if anything happens to you, we're not held responsible.
Yeah.
No, she's right. I think another thing that I didn't consider when going there was how crazy the driving would be.
Oh, man. So when we were there, women couldn't drive.
I don't like driving either.
So it's a bunch of men driving.
What are you trying to say?
They're all over the place. You couldn't
No,
go
literally,
by.
they're all over the place.
You couldn't drive it a day without seeing at
wreck.
least one accident. Like accidents.
It was weird.
And then the guys out there yelling at each other and stuff. I mean, it's chaos. Hopefully it's a little better now that some of the ladies are on the road.
Well, and this was also where we were living, so I'm not sure what day-to-day life would be like in Riyadh or Jeddah. Those are, two of the bigger places, but like where we were living was a bit of the Wild West in like the Eastern Quarter. I think, people live certainly a different lifestyle, so that's interesting. One thing that I think that you guys need to be warned about is the colors. It can be very monochromatic. It can be very, brown and beige. Yes, you're gonna find green spaces, but you have to go searching for them. Like, I think on the day-to-day, it's just not a super colorful place.
Yeah, it's just the way they do their buildings. And I mean, they try to do a good job with adding trees and stuff, but it's just limited because of the region.
And this, again, is outside of Riyadh, outside of Jeddah. Jebel, right?
Right, because they're a little more metropolitan, I guess.
Yeah. Metropolitan is good.
So they might have more of like buildings with glass and stuff, but where we were outside of the bigger cities, it's not. It doesn't look like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Riyadh's beautiful. Riyadh is. I mean, you'll see the pictures. It's gorgeous.
Okay, so I have one more good thing to add about what to consider.
Okay.
We've talked about travel and how that was one of the reasons that we wanted to go, but what we didn't realize is because of where it is in the world, it's amazing for travel outside of the Middle East anyway.
True.
So we have really good friends in South Africa, and South Africa is really far from everywhere, but being in Saudi, it was actually really easy to get to. The flight was still kind of long, but it wasn't that bad with a bunch of layovers, and even though you have to cross all of Africa, it was shorter than if we wanted to go really from anywhere else. So I think that Saudi Arabia is a great place to travel within the Middle East, but then also outside of the Middle East too.
Yeah, I think there are direct flights though from Saudi to Joburg. We just didn't do that.
Right. Well, we had to stop in Jeddah. So we did,
right.
I mean, it did come because we were on the eastern side. So when we went to Jeddah, and then Jeddah straight down to Joburg. So
yeah.
So that's a great perk.
Yeah, if you guys want to learn more about Saudi Arabia, we have a massive playlist for you guys to check out, things that we've discussed about Saudi Arabia or interviews that we've done. So click that playlist here. If you're new to the channel, or this is, your second, third, fourth time seeing one of our videos and you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button here. Help us keep growing. All right, let's get moving.
Bye.